Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric, and near the end of every year, a lot of roller coaster channels like to rank their top 25, top 50 roller coasters. However, I feel that it's better to keep small this year. I'm going top 5. Before we begin the ranking, please subscribe to the channel, as I will have plenty of more content through the rest of this year. I hope this is a good way to start the year, and I do want to point out why I'm doing a top 5. There are 2 reasons. The first is, I feel doing a top 25, many people will disagree with so many different rankings, and everyone's going to get mad for no reason, and I don't want anyone to be mad while watching my video. So I'm going to stick with my favorite 5. But the bigger reason is because I want to be able to really elaborate on why these are in my top 5. And if I don't have to do that for 25 coasters, I think that's good. So sticking with my 5 absolute favorites. Let's begin this top 5 roller coasters I've been on. Out of 183 credits, here we go. Number 5 is Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. What a fantastic roller coaster this one is. My first RMC, perhaps I'm a little biased there, I really enjoyed this one. I love the racing aspect that I got every time I rode it. The airtime is unbelievable. It is perfectly smooth as most RMCs are. It's a fantastic ride overall. Going through individual parts, the drop is great. The bunny hops at the beginning before the drop are fantastic. The high 5 is really cool. The inversions land perfectly. There is nothing wrong with this ride. I love the whole layout. The fact that you go through it twice is really special. And every single airtime moment on it really throws you out of your seat. The double parts, really good. It's an unbelievable roller coaster. Definitely earned a spot in the top 5. Just barely beating out some fantastic RMCs such as Wicked Cyclone. This one I feel keeps its pace better, obviously excluding the lift hill. I do not personally think, however, that takes away from the ride. I think it's totally fine that the ride is essentially 2 different rides, and I think that makes it really unique. I love that about it, and I think that's what sets this ride apart for me from other RMCs, and that's what makes it a really, really great ride. Moving on to number 4, VelociCoaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida. This ride really blew me away, and you can see how much it blew me away in my video about top 10 roller coasters that actually had my mind just blown. It was a fantastic ride. What makes this better than Twisted Colossus? For me, pacing. I think VelociCoaster is a near perfect ride. Let's move through the whole experience. The theming is unbelievable. You have a grand entrance, one of the best anywhere in the world. You have Raptor animatronics and really cool screen effects next to the second launch. And you have an awesome locker system that is incorporated into the theming. And everything looks super clean and incredibly modernized. And it's just really awesome to look at. I love the giant windows that look out to the ride. The whole theme of it is great. And even on the ride for the first half, you're going through Raptor statues and a giant rock. That is really well crafted. And then you have the actual ride experience. The layout is unbelievable, with the individual inversions, such as the Mosasaurus roll, being some of the best on any roller coaster ever. The top hat is fantastic. The second launch is great. I love so many elements of it. The turns are very snappy, and I feel that this is essentially an upgraded Maverick. It's faster, at least how it feels. It has stronger airtime overall. I feel that it's more intense, but also a little less headbanging because the restraints are much better. They're only a lap bar. The theming is stronger. It takes everything great about Maverick and makes it better. And I love Maverick, but honestly, VelociCoaster is a lot better. It is fantastic, unbelievably incredible. It's just so many adjectives I can use to describe how great the ride is. The only thing that kind of holds it back from being higher, one minor flaw, and that's that I feel the first launch does not set the pace for the ride very well. It's good, but you can really feel it coming and it's not very powerful. And I think it's important that a ride starts pretty strong, and I think the other 3 on here are just a little more fun for me overall. But in terms of objectivity, I think Velocicoaster is objectively one of the probably top 3, maybe even top 2 roller coasters in America. Now for number 3, the big shock of the day, Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Yes, Millennium Force beat out Velocicoaster and 180 other roller coasters. Why? What's wrong with me? Well, I think it is a very fun ride. I have a bit of a soft spot for this one because it is one of my first major roller coasters, but I will never in a million years say it is forceless. It is far from it. In my experiences, it stays forceful the whole way through. Let's go through this ride experience. First of all, you have the station. It looks fine, and the music is the best ever, period. I get that some may not like it, but it's too catchy for me not to dance to every time I'm in the queue, and I'm not even joking. The first drop, the build up to it is perfect, and the drop itself is my favorite of any roller coaster. Then you have Overbank Turn. I'm a sucker for these, I think it's really good. The turn afterwards into the tunnel is shockingly intense, and I'd say it has more sustained forces than anything on Intimidator 305. The Airtime hills have incredible floater, with the final speed hill getting really good ejector. The parts where you're doing turns around the Forbidden Frontier are also incredibly intense, and even though they are just turns, you feel so much force and speed that I don't see how anyone can be upset with it. The final overbank is really good because of how small it is, you really feel the forces on that. And that wraps up the near perfect ride experience. I understand that other roller coasters may have more intensity or more airtime for some, but I think this ride just has the perfect balance for me. It is really fun, it has airtime, it has intensity, it's an incredibly fun ride while also being an incredibly thrilling one. There isn't a single thing I would change about this ride. It's special, it's one of my favorites, it is far from Millennium Forceless. I know this is the pick that will get most to disagree with me, but this is definitely in my top 3. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Number 2, Fury 325 at Carowinds. Lately, this roller coaster has essentially become the new Millennium Force. I find a lot of people saying it is now overrated and does not really deserve all the praise it's getting when new roller coasters are outclassing it. I haven't been back to this ride in a little while, but from the rides I got, I don't see that. It is the perfect roller coaster. Not even number 1 can say that. This is flawless. It is incredible in airtime. It is tall. The drop is fantastic, just like Millennium Force, really close to Millennium Force's level. The speed is even stronger. The intensity is much stronger. The layout is better with more creative elements. And I think everything about it is right there with Millennium Force, and some elements are done even better. When I first got off of it, I couldn't believe I was moving Millennium Force down from my number 1, but I thought Fury 325 was better. And it definitely is. It's simply the perfect roller coaster. I think there are some elements that number 1 does better, but I think Fury 325 is the ultimate crowd pleaser. I can't imagine a single person getting off of this thinking it's a bad ride, because it is thrilling, but it's not so intense or snappy that people who are not into that sort of thing would not enjoy it. It is the perfect roller coaster, and I don't think I need to argue that anymore. Besides, it looks really nice too, those colors are fantastic. But that's not quite what you're here for, you're here for number 1. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait as I have a few honorable mentions I really want to put in here. Superman the Ride, that would be number 6. I really wanted to mention that one because I love the ride. It has perfect airtime and intensity, and it could be right there with Millennium Force if not above it, if not for the restraints. You all knew that was coming. I don't think they are quite as terrible as some have said, but they are pretty terrible. And that is unfortunate, as if not for that, this could be the ultimate roller coaster. I also want to shout out New Texas Giant. This is very high up there, possibly number 7. And the reason I wanted to point it out is because it's one of the most underrated roller coasters I've been on. I don't think it is the best, and it's not really quite there with the top 5. But I thought it was way better than what most say. I often hear it is one of the worst RMCs. I've heard the worst from quite a few people, even after Jersey Devil came out, which I've also heard is one of the weakest. But New Texas Giant for me, the first drop started it off really well, and the airtime throughout the ride was fantastic. It was shockingly intense in the back row, and the pacing possibly even trumped Wicked Cyclone. It's an incredible RMC. I think the finale is actually better than Twisted Colossus is, and there isn't a whole lot else I want to say. I just think New Texas Giant is an incredible roller coaster that deserves a lot more respect than it gets, and is definitely in my top 10. But now for number 1, and if you know me, you know it's Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is, without a doubt, my favorite. It's in a different league from Fury in some aspects. I do want to quickly touch on the one thing that I kind of feel Fury has above it, and the one thing keeping Steel Vengeance from being the perfect roller coaster, that is restraints. Steel Vengeance's restraints are not great. They do somewhat restrict some of the airtime and make it a little less enjoyable. But in terms of the layout and the ride experience, it is near perfect. The camelbacks at the beginning, as I like to call them, they are amazing. You get shocking ejector airtime for how tiny they are. The first drop is unbelievable, the best of all the RMCs I've been on. And you have the 2 best airtime moments in the world possibly after that, with the top hat and the outer bank just being amazing. After that, you have incredible pacing with shocking inversions, really awesome weaving through the structure, incredible smaller airtime hills, and even the brake run adds to the ride as it gives you anticipation before an awesome brake run drop. There is nothing I'd change about this besides the restraints, and it is the best roller coaster in the world for me. I have lately heard from many people actually that this ride is overrated, but I feel that no ride is called overrated for the same reason Steel Vengeance is, and that is because Steel Vengeance is by so many considered in a different league from other roller coasters, and other people think it's in their top 5, and that's enough to make it overrated. Not even Millennium Force could say that. But I can totally understand that. I feel that Steel Vengeance is number 1, and the fact that it gets so much praise that it possibly being your number 2 favorite roller coaster could make it overrated, that speaks volumes. I think Steel Vengeance, though, definitely is not overrated, and it's my number 1 roller coaster in the world. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below any video suggestions and your favorite roller coasters. Also subscribe to the channel. I have plenty more videos coming out through the rest of the year. I hope this was a good way to start the year. I will see you next time.